What's going on, guys? Welcome to Aggressively American, where we expose all the ways you're being manipulated one video at a time. Today, we're going to take a step off the beaten path a little bit. I know there's been a lot of crazy stuff happening in the news. Every single day seems like there's another major announcement. Today, I want to kind of delve into what's been viewed as kind of a joke. Kind of just like negotiation tactics, which it very well might be, but also I think there might be some legs to it, so to speak, and that's really just Trump's kind of loose comments he's made about making Canada a 51st state. Again, a lot of people look at it kind of like it's a joke, and I think he does it just to taunt Trudeau and kind of mess with him, like he does with a lot of other things. But in the same token, I also think he might be serious about it. So we're going to watch a series of videos, look at a couple articles, and some other things, and I'm just going to share my thoughts because I think this might become something bigger in the future. So let's first and foremost get a little background on this.
Are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No, economic force, because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like, and it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada. I love the Canadian people, they're great, but we're spending hundreds of billions a year to protect it. We lose in trade deficits. We're losing massive. We don't need their cars. You know, they make 20% of our cars. We don't need that. I'd rather make them in Detroit. We don't need their lumber. We have massive fields of lumber. We don't need anything. So why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada? And I said that to, as I called him, Governor Trudeau. I said, listen, what would happen if we didn't subsidize you? They should be a state. That's why I told Trudeau when he came down. I said, what would happen if we didn't do it? He said Canada would dissolve. Canada wouldn't be able to function if we didn't take their 20% of our car market. We don't need their cars, and we don't need the other products. We don't need their milk. We got a lot of milk. So I said to him, well, why are we doing it? He said, I don't really know. He was unable to answer the question, but I can answer it. We're doing it because of habit, and we're doing it because we like our neighbors, and we've been good neighbors. But we can't do it forever.
Are you also?
So, guys, that's him kind of laying it out. And again, it started as a veiled just taunt to Trudeau. But as you can see here, he's kind of serious about it. He's kind of serious about like, hey, look, Canada has blatantly admitted that without us subsidizing them, without us essentially funneling money into their economy, they wouldn't exist. They wouldn't be able to be a country. And you know Trump, he doesn't like just doing things that cost him money when he doesn't get anything in return. And that's really why he started pumping the economic pressure on Canada in recent weeks and really showing his force of strength, saying, hey, look, I'm not playing around with this. But again, still people kind of looked at it and they said, well, you know, it's nothing really. But I want you guys to see something here. I want you to see this this map. This is a map of the United States and Canada. And Trump made a comment. He said, imagine what the U.S. would look like without this imaginary line. And when you see this, it would turn the United States into this ridiculously large and ultimate powerful landmass. But then you have this little interesting thing over here, which is Greenland. And as we all know, Trump has also been saying that he wants to put something together with Greenland. And suddenly, again, when you see this map, it really starts to make sense. If Trump was able to do this, all this would be the U.S. All of this would be the United States. I mean, it's like a new empire, so to speak. And suddenly you start to get an idea of what Trump's vision for his presidency might look like. But people still say, no, that's never going to happen. If you look at articles, Trump says he believes U.S. will, quote unquote, get Greenland. Just to read through some of this article, President Donald Trump has said he believes the U.S. will gain control of Greenland after showing renewed interest in acquiring the autonomous Danish territory in recent weeks. Trump is quoted as saying, "I think we're going to have it," he told reporters on Air Force One on Saturday, adding that the island's 57,000 residents want to be with us. His comments come after reports that Danish Prime Minister insisted Greenland was not for sale in a fiery phone call with the president last week. And just like Trudeau is saying to the press, Canada is not for sale. You can't have Canada. It's not going to happen. You can Google news article after news article of Trudeau saying that we're not going to be able to get Canada. It's not a real thing. But then Trudeau gets caught on this hot mic. Check this out. Listen to Trudeau here.
Has it in mind that one of the easiest ways of doing that is absorbing our country, and it is a real thing. Mr. Trump has it in mind
that again.
that one of the easiest ways of doing that is absorbing our country, and it is a real thing.
This is Trudeau on a hot mic saying, look, one of the easiest ways out of this predicament is for the U.S. to absorb Canada, and it is a real thing. This is important, guys, because we have to keep a certain face to the press. Unlike Zelensky yesterday, most politicians don't air the dirty laundry out in front of the press. So when you get Trudeau caught on a hot mic here where he's saying, hey, look, guys, this isn't a joke. This is potentially a real thing. That's a pretty big deal. But then people say, well, wait a second. Doesn't England have some sort of precedence over Canada? Isn't that one of their quote unquote realms, as they put it? And the answer is yes. So you might say like, hey, look, what would England think about this? Well, England is ruled by the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, who just came to visit the president. And this was some of what they had to say regarding that. This is a longer clip. I'll probably skip through some of it. But I just want you guys to kind of see how some of this went down because Trump has been doing the thing he's been doing against Canada in the midst of Keir Starmer coming over to meet with him. And this is how their conversation went.
Told me that you believe that foreign countries pay tariffs, but Americans who are concerned about higher prices believe, as most people do, that they're paid by consumers and importers when they import things into this country. Can you explain how you came to this belief that foreign governments are paying tariffs? And for the Prime Minister, did you discuss with President Trump his repeated statements of desire to annex Canada? And has the king expressed any concern over the president's apparent desire to remove one of his realms from his control?
So Donald Trump goes on to just do a Donald Trump response where he kind of says a whole lot of this and that. But at the end, and again, it's not that what he says isn't important. What I want you to see is the Prime Minister's take on what was asked here. Let me skip ahead.
Like no country has ever been taken advantage of. Thank you very much. And
look, we had a really good discussion, a productive discussion, a good discussion, as a result of which our teams are now going to be working together on an economic deal. Our teams are going to be working together on security in Ukraine. You mentioned Canada. I think you're trying to find a divide between us that doesn't exist. We're the closest of nations, and we had very good discussions today, but we didn't discuss Canada.
Thank you.
Boom, that's enough, he says. So check it out, guys. What essentially I'm getting at here is that the press is trying to make this out as like, oh, this is crazy. It's really not that crazy. And again, it might not happen, but I think Trump is really taking it seriously. One of the things that Starmer said is that when he came over and met with Trump, they were putting together this like economic deal. He kind of touched on it there. But essentially, they're saying, hey, look, we're about to do something really big together, and do not put it past Trump to put Canada as a part of that deal. Do not put it past Trump to say you could have the best thing that's ever happened to England from the U.S. in these next 4 years. Get set up. The foundation will be put in place. However, Canada belongs to us moving forward. Do not put that past President Trump. And one of the big hurdles that he'd have to get through to make that happen would be to get someone like Keir Starmer to sign on, but especially the king. So as you saw there, Keir Starmer saying, hey, look, there's no beef between us over what's happening with Canada. Well, what does the king think? Well, King Charles just invites Trump for unprecedented UK state visit, okay? And Trump accepted. The king is literally inviting Trump over to the UK in what is actually a record-breaking visit because it makes the U.S. president the first elected political leader in modern times to be hosted for 2 state visits by a British monarch. So again, we don't know what this visit is going to look like. We don't know what kind of hardball is going to be played. Trump did say Keir Starmer's playing hardball, but when it was all said and done on the topic of Canada, Trudeau says it's a real thing. Keir Starmer says there's no beef with the UK over what the US is doing with Canada. King Charles is inviting Trump for an unprecedented visit to the UK, which kind of demonstrates that, hey, look, we're down to play ball. We like what we're seeing here. Guys, one for the last time, look at this map. This is what the US would look like. If Trump puts this deal together, we get all this. And then if Trump gets Greenland, we get all this. And suddenly, the course of the United States, the way this nation looks, this would be the most drastically important thing that's ever happened to the United States in the last 2 centuries. It would drastically alter the course of this nation and turn the page into a new chapter of being a superpower. They say empires rise and fall. A lot of people have predicted that the U.S. was going down, and they're citing all the signs, and this is the end of an empire. Something like this would completely pull a 180 and introduce us into a new age of greatness. And to be perfectly honest with you, I am so excited to see how these things play out.